My leg is going.
We're going for an evangelism. Now, you might never ever get to know the person that is in charge of this evangelism. You might never ever get to know her. You might never ever maybe even see her doing the work she's doing in this far remote place, online or on TV or on your phones. You might never, but God sees everything this woman is doing. And I must tell you the truth, she does this every Sunday, crossing these hurdles just to go to preach the gospel to a remote place where people scarcely hear what we hear for free here. She pays this price every Sunday, and you might never ever get to know her. This brings me to this. In a human organization, we have the head, either the manager or the director, then we come down to the clerks, the messengers, and then down to the securities, the gateman, the watchman, and all of that. Now, if all these people clock in at work 8 a.m. and leave work 9 p.m., they all will not be paid the same salary. They will all be paid different salary. It doesn't matter how hardworking they are or how early they get to work. It doesn't matter how faithful they are to their work. When it comes to a human establishment, these variations will be there. But this is not how God does his own things. When it comes to God, God rewards faithfulness, not largeness. And this is why when you read the book of Matthew 20 from verse 1 to 16, Jesus explains a parable. He said, the master, the owner of a vineyard, went out and got a set of workers. They began to work in the morning on his vineyard. And then when he was moving around, he saw some people that were idle and asked them, why are you doing nothing? They said they had no employment. So he brought them to the vineyard to work. Mind you, they came later than the first people. Also, when the master went out again, he saw some other people that were idle and he brought them again to the vineyard, and they came at the tail end of the day. So all these people did not work the same measure of work, but they were all faithful to their employment. When the master came at the end of the day, he rewarded all of them equally. And those who began working earlier, who definitely must have done more work, became angry and were not happy with the master's judgment. And the master addressed them. Are you going to tell me how I'm to reward the labor? So who are you to judge how much I pay others? This master did not pay attention to who began to work earlier or how much work the person has done. The master paid attention to the faithfulness of the workers. So you see, this is how God operates. He does not operate by how large your work is or whether you gave your life to Christ first. God rewards faithfulness. And that is why every Christian needs a high dose of humility if God must use you, because God might not use you the way he's using others. But whatever God has given us as a calling, we need to be faithful to that thing as any other person with a larger work is. That is why I began by giving you the example of a human establishment. A human will not pay the manager and the security guard the same salary, but God will if they are all faithful to their work. We all cannot be up there doing the same thing. If a human establishment lacked the security people, the gateman, the cleaners, will the manager or the directors enjoy their offices? Of course not. God expects us to focus more on faithfulness than trying to be the next big thing. Because when he comes, he will be rewarding faithfulness, not bigness. Faithfulness. You know, the reason why we have this mentality of bigness as something that God claps more for is because people write more books about big ministers. But if we are going to be sincere to ourselves, all these ministers are able to do what they are doing because somebody down there is faithful to their own assignment. And so if God is writing his own book, he's going to be writing about everybody he has called. Not if God has given you a more exposed calling, please do it with faithfulness. If God has given you a more grounded calling, please do it with faithfulness. Throw away competition, jealousy, strife, and all of that. Only harbor love, faith, hope, and faithfulness in your heart when serving God, so that when He comes, He will give you His reward, not a small reward, but His reward.